in the koozie.
I mean, I would have my
Hmm.
shirt off right now, just so you can get a preview of what this koozie really looks like on the lake. But this is
Yeah.
this is it right now.
So it's like I could experience where you are
Yep.
with your shirt off. That's nice. You're very thoughtful. Well, make sure you speak in the microphone and welcome everyone
Well,
to the greatest podcast for travel in the universe, the whole world. I'm your host, Fraser Laveay, inspiredtraveleat.com. We got Jackie Boy, Greaves, Biscuits, and G Reezy, and we're talking about the 30 best travel tips that you can have, from budget to just great ideas. And I've got a whole list from the website. You can go on there if you want to read yourself. But me and Jackie, we're going to knock it out, go through a little bit, and, you know, have some beers along the way. I'm going to drink Zoa energy drink. Shout out.
I'm drinking
We do
ranch
shout outs.
waters because I got the
Mm.
Crohn's real bad. Still got the Crohn's. Nothing's changed.
Oh yeah. You
Chroned
can't get
up.
rid of that. It's like luggage. You just keep it.
Yep. I've been eating a
Okay.
lot of PF Chang's lately because they have a nice gluten-free menu. It's
Oh,
fantastic.
that's interesting. You'd go to a place that's like predominantly known for gluten, but then just get the gluten free.
It's
I
not,
think I'd just go to
hey,
a gluten free place.
PF Chang's
That's nice.
got with the times. They took a look at their
Mm.
demographics and they said, it's time for gluten-free menu, and they did it. I highly
That's
recommend
great.
the Chang's chicken and the Singapore street noodles. Neither one of those is a paid shout out from PF Chang's. This is just because I'm a fan.
Yeah,
Straight up. Been there 4 times this week.
that's great. I'm glad that for our travel podcast, we're telling people to go to chains that they all know about. But, anyways,
Hey, if you're on
semantics,
the
I
road,
guess. Yeah.
there's a lot of them, and they're great for a quick stop if you're into the quick fine dining.
Yeah. Quick QFDs, we call them. Well, let's get into it. Jackson, this is one of my favorite things to tell people when they ask me about traveling. I say hunt for experiences, not beaches.
Hmm.
So what I mean by that is, like, there's a beach, you're just in Destin. You can go to a beach anywhere. I've been to a beach in Fiji. I've been to a beach in Thailand or New Zealand. For the most part, a beach is a beach.
Well,
And it's like after you do it a few times, if you're lucky enough to, maybe not everyone is. If you're not lucky enough to, then go to the Dominican, go get yourself some beach time. But I think going to a place like Chiang Mai in Thailand or Luang Prabang in Laos, all those kind of places are just, the experience you'll have is momentous, from just the culture you'll see, the food, um, everything else. Like, I went to India, worst trip of my entire life. It was an awful place. No offense, everyone, but even my four great Indian friends all concur. But it was the most incredible experience I ever had. So,
unless you know
yeah.
someone,
Did you have any?
predominantly on top of the caste system there, we won't get into that. I could speak hours on it. I'm very passionate about the Indian caste system.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
really. What do you have any, like, a couple things you like to share,
I'm not a big
or
fan.
is that
I'll
not
tell you
for
that.
TV?
Like, not a big
Hmm.
fan, but I know about it, and I think it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's, but they
Hmm.
throw
Maybe we can shed more light.
hell of a wedding, and they can dance. Oh, they can
Hmm.
dance and make great movies. Love the Bollywood scene. Very colorful.
Yeah.
Big fan of the culture there. And dude, I once again the Singapore street noodles and PF Chang's, they kind of was doing some biting, but it has curry in it. Big fan of the curry. Love curry.
Yeah.
Great food there.
Well, I'm glad we managed to offend everyone in India in the last 35 seconds. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Indian food. Also, I went to India, and everyone's like, "Oh, I love Indian food. That must be incredible." It's like, how often do you eat Indian food? Like once every 2 months? So
I,
imagine eating it every single day.
I
And for breakfast, they eat the same stuff for breakfast as they do for lunch and dinner.
I'll tell you this. I there was a spot back in my place of raisin called Knoxville, Tennessee, called Tandoor,
Mm,
and I ate that weekly. And that place I could smash some chicken vindaloo, some of their chicken mars. Just they have some chicken tikka masala. They have the best. That I will say this,
yeah,
they got some incredible stuff that it just does not get
yeah,
lost on me. Does not get lost on me.
great. While you turn the sound off on your phone so it doesn't ding to our listeners, number two is
All the people
I want to
tuning
know this
in,
tip,
buddy.
Jackson.
Huh?
Yeah, live. One of my favorites is I call it flexible flights and purposeful layovers.
Mm,
So what I mean by that is if you're going to Greece or Cambodia, for instance, if you look, it's expensive as hell and it's like 30 plus hour flights.
hmm.
So I always look. What I do is I'll book a flight. Let's say we're going to Greece, which I did a couple years ago. I flew to Rome round trip, and so I flew to Rome. Actually, I flew into Rome and out of Barcelona. The flight to Rome was like $350, and the flight from Barcelona back was like $350. And then once you're
Huh.
in Europe, it's so cheap to fly everywhere. So instead of just going to Greece, I went to Rome for 2.5 days, flew to Greece, then came back to Barcelona, stayed there for like 2.5 days, experienced all that. It was a third of the price of if I flew right to Greece, and I got to see two immaculate cities. So
Because you were playing with layovers. You were just playing with the layovers.
yeah,
Incredible.
flexible layovers. Yeah, so I
What
did
would
that
you
in Asia too. I went.
What would you say the
Yeah, go ahead.
easiest airport to get in and out of during that trip was? Intercontinental.
Um, I feel like European airports are always really good. Like, and
Very
most of the flights
efficient.
you can get from anywhere in the U.S. Yeah,
Mhm.
or like London, cheap flights to London, Paris, Madrid, Barcelona, and Rome.
Was that a
Yeah,
lisp I
so
heard?
real simple. Yeah, Barcelona. Um, so yeah, that's another tip. This one's real simple, and I know you believe in this wholeheartedly, and this is really just a life lesson. What's that sound, by the way? Do you have a microwave
I
going
have
off?
another one. I have another phone. It's been dinging.
Yeah,
I'm gonna find it.
yeah. You gotta turn the microwave thing off.
Keep going.
Um,
This energy's going.
yeah.
I'm flowing with it.
Okay. So my thing, can you hear me? It's be friendly and make friends with locals and tourists. Which I mean, that's simple, right? But
Right off the get
I've
go.
bought, yeah, like even uh, you kind of have to be not a wallflower when you travel and just buying someone a drink, talking to them. I've had some of the coolest experiences I've ever had. Like when I was in Vietnam, I ended up playing soccer with actually they're now like the Asian beach soccer champs, like 3 times running, and they've gone like the beach soccer World Cup.
I saw that. It was
So
unbelievable.
that was one of the coolest things ever. Actually, probably the coolest thing I've ever done. They like took me in for a week, and I was practicing with them, played in a friendly.
You drank a lot.
It was
There's a lot
yeah.
of that.
They took
A lot
they
of
took me
street
to this
food.
dinner. Yeah, they took me to dinner in Da Nang, and it was on the street, and they just set up like little plastic tables,
Love it.
and then there's fish tanks, and you go and select what you want to eat from the fish tanks.
Ooh,
And it was like it
ooh.
was incredible. And so they chop it right up in front of you. They cook it with like noodles and rice and all these little vegetables. Like what's like a pot? What's it called? A
Hot pot,
potluckish kind of thing.
pho,
Yeah, hot pot. There you go, and a
hot
potluck.
pot.
All the pots.
Big hot pot fan
And it was like,
you're talking to right here.
yeah. And I was so overjoyed. I spent like $200 on the dinner, and there was a whole team. There's 18 of us. $200 for 18 people. Not very expensive, but I was like, I'm taking care of
With
it
alcohol, with
because,
the booze, from what I
yeah,
saw. I saw a lot of beers on the table.
exactly.
A lot of lot of
Yeah.
nice beers.
So
What is the
incredible.
beer of Nam? What is it right there?
Ooh, I always get them all confused. I think Budweiser or Anheuser-Busch or whatever brand it is, I think they just take the exact same beer, which is smart, and they just put a different label on it, and maybe they add like a little bit of different spice from that country. Because like the Vietnam beer, the Lao beer, I think it's just called Lao, beer Lao.
Mm.
The Thailand beer, which is called I forget what it's called, but I think it's all just a lie, to be honest,
Yeah,
because it
yeah,
all
it's
tastes the
water that
same.
identifies as beer, probably.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Okay.
But Saigon. It's just called Beer Saigon, or there's 333 I remember drinking a lot of. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So here's one that's kind of unintentionally negative. Uh, I've accidentally gone to places where the stock has dipped recently. So, like, remember when Greece had their economic downturn?
Riot.
I went
We
to
had
Thailand
riot.
a year after.
Lots of riots.
Yeah, I went. I went to Thailand after the tsunami, like back in 2005. I went, and obviously stuff was pretty cheap.
That
But it was
stuff
also
was
you're
watered
helping
down.
the economy.
Yeah, as I say,
I don't,
the
we'll have to
economy
edit
had
that
been
out.
watered down.
Um, might have to edit that part out. But and then also Puerto Rico. I was there a year after the hurricane, the Virgin Islands. So it was nice. You're also giving
Was
back to
that
the
during the
economy.
like time Trump was like tossing paper
Yeah.
towels out like basketballs?
Yes, that is actually exactly then.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah. So I mean, if you are on a budget, just look at some places that maybe, even Vietnam and Nicaragua are good examples where people are scared. Like instead of going to Vietnam, there's kind of that stigma attached. So people go to Thailand because it's Americanized and safe, quote unquote. So Vietnam is very underappreciated because obviously, as you can imagine, there's that stigma next to it. So going to those kind of places, magical.
Stigma.
Uh, yeah,
Stigma attached to Nam?
yeah, like Vietnam.
Yeah, there's no stigma. There's no
I
war
think there
still. I don't
is.
know if
I
you
don't think.
know this, Fraser. There's no war still going on. That was during the 70s.
Yeah, but
There's no there.
Americans are still ignorant to it.
Oh, are you sure? Like North Americans in general, like because you're from Canada, like, and that was a
Yeah.
pretty ignorant statement.
Oh, says the guy who's got jokes about Thailand. I think got it
I haven't
15
been.
years
I
ago.
haven't been. I'm just going off what I've heard. I'm just going off what,
Yeah.
which is ignorant. Which is ignorant. So yeah, yeah. This
Yeah.
is yeah. That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I'll book my ticket tomorrow. I'll book my ticket tomorrow.
Lovely. We'll go. Alcohol on flights, you can't really do this, but it's illegal now, but it wasn't for a while. Where I would just take like in a plastic little sandwich bag, I would just take a bunch of like liquor bottles, the wee guys, and take them through on carry on, and then just ask for a soda, drinks all night, all day on your
Wow.
flight.
Are you
So
are
now it's
you
illegal.
on intercontinental flights? I have yet to do. I've of course I've bought liquor at airports before, but like on an
Hmm.
intercontinental flight, can you just pop that bad boy? Are you allowed to pop the thing the full bottle of boozes that you collect at terminals?
No, that's what I was kind of saying. It's frowned upon.
It's frowned upon now.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot, Bin Laden.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I would
but you can still
I
do
would
it.
say more Malaysia Airlines. They had a real hard year as well.
Yeah.
Missing flights, down
Hmm.
flight. It's crazy. It's been more, yeah,
Yeah,
been,
that's true.
yeah. Get with
So we
you
should
can't
support
just
them.
blame everything on Bin
Yeah.
Laden. I'd love to blame everything on Bin Laden, but you can't. You can't anymore. Obama
Yeah.
took care of that problem.
Yeah. USA, USA, USA,
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah.
Um, Netflix and chill. So, are you aware that I'm sure you know you can download Netflix shows and movies?
I've done
Did you know
that.
that?
Yeah. You're talking about
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
plane rides. Like on
Yeah,
the
well,
plane.
like before you go on the plane, when you're at home the day before, you download a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
then on the plane ride, if they don't have good
YouTube
movies, they don't have
Premium.
TVs.
YouTube Premium. I've really used that a lot.
I
You
have YouTube
familiar?
TV. Is that separate from YouTube Premium?
It is very separate. You can download all the YouTube videos you want and
Very.
watch them I mean, the YouTube just it just segregated into a bunch of a compartmentalized a bunch of stuff, you know? So you have to have like 3 different
Hmm.
YouTube subscriptions. Hey, nothing against YouTube, big fan of YouTube, you know? But
Yeah. Shout out
I would
YouTube.
love YouTube TV to kind of encompass, the YouTube Premium. But I love comedy specials. Big comedy special fan. So I download a lot of
Yeah.
YouTube Premium comedy specials before I zip off into the sunset, you know,
Yeah,
commercial flight.
that makes sense. I'm going to Theo Von on Thursday. Speaking of comedy
What
shows,
city?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. Theo's going to Phoenix, eh?
He's got like 3 days.
I'm sure he does well in Phoenix.
Yeah,
My kind of
yeah,
people. The kind of
no
people
doubt.
down there. I love Phoenix. The
Yeah,
golly, the people down in Phoenix.
some of the
Love
some of
them.
the worst.
Love Phoenix.
Um, Another one I have. So I go back and forth on this, but I say spending extra for the experience is worth it. And
Mhm.
if you're on a crazy tight budget, then don't listen to this. But there's a fine line between spending a little extra or sticking to your budget, and sometimes paying more is worth it. Like I always say, you'll make $100 thousands of times in your life, maybe tens of thousands, or whatever. I'm not a math guy. But when will you be back in Bali again? When will you be back in Laos? When will you be back in Greece? So if it means spending an extra $100 you don't have to maybe avoid like a 12-hour bus ride in Thailand, and you just buy that flight so you get an extra 10 hours in a city or a full day in a city, do that. So I just think that spend the extra $100 is worth your time that you will never get back again, but you will get that $100 back, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Well, look up something. That
Yeah.
just brought up a good question in my mind.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is get lost. So, I mean, stay safe, of course, but sometimes take a right instead of a left, unless you're in Mexico City.
Yeah,
Stay
you got
the
robbed.
course and around people. Yeah. So, don't, most places do this, but not in Mexico City to everyone. But stick the same path. You'll just follow the others. I was in Chiang Mai. And in Chiang Mai, it's a big square that you just go around and forever, and you rent bikes, and there's like temples everywhere. Beautiful city. And we went around it a few times, and I was like, what if we just took a right? And so we went off the track. We ended up in like this kind of little ghetto soccer field. It was almost like Rucker Park, the basketball courts in New York. So it was like that, but soccer. And they just had like string light bulbs hanging over like little soccer courts and stuff. And me
That's
and my buddy played there
adorable.
for like we played there for 5 hours. We were buying all the locals like water and beers and stuff. Um, it was that and the
Was
Vietnam,
that
two of
your
my favorite.
tourist guilt or something? Like, we gonna buy
Well,
everyone water?
I mean, they're
You're
inviting
like,
us to
"The
play with
water's
them
on me, y'all."
and beer.
Did you go to a local convenience store and get a case? Or you just like throwing waters
Well,
at
it was
people like Trump?
no, that was just next
Water
to
for
the
you,
courts.
water for you.
They invited us to play with them, and it was the least I could do
You're
was
like,
provide
water's
them
on
with.
me. You let the gringo play.
uh,
That's incredible.
yeah.
Well, now
Another one
that's
you'll
a
like.
hot travel tip. Bring water with you wherever you go.
That's on the list, and your little koozie, your neck koozie. Uh, so
This
another
thing is
one,
transformative. My drinking game has
yeah.
gone to another level.
Ah.
Really has.
Um,
This is
if a
also
if a
type of fanny
local,
pack. Like, I can put this around my
great.
waist, believe it or not. It stretches. It's very stretchy.
Even your waist.
Hey, I've lost weight due to the Crohn's. Look
That's
at this.
good. Less
Look,
gluten.
look at this. Look at that.
That's
Look
great.
at it.
Yeah, for everyone
Yeah,
who's not
that's
watching,
health.
Jackson's showing how it fits around his waist.
Yeah.
This won't be on. Sometimes the video doesn't translate, so a lot of people can't see. They're just gonna be listening, so they don't know what's going on right now.
Translate
Another thing
that,
I like to
man.
tell if everyone, you'll like this one. If a local jumped off a bridge or ate snake, would you do it? And the answer is yes, do it. If it
If a
doesn't scare
local does
you, yeah, if it doesn't scare you, it won't change you.
it. I hear
Trust your
the
gut,
same
but
goes in San Francisco.
yep.
Yeah, if it's a
Um,
local, and same in Portland. I don't know about that. Not everything the
yeah,
locals do can, you know,
yeah.
be
I've covered
beneficial to your cultural experience. Not
that's true.
necessarily. Like you
Yeah.
said, Mexico.
Hmm.
You
Concur.
don't do everything the locals do. You know what I'm saying? Don't do
Yeah,
everything.
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, same thing in the USA. You don't want to do everything the locals do here and bring a gun
Oh,
into a
that's
state
what
and
I said.
shoot.
Yeah, I agree. Alabama, you
Yeah,
don't wanna go have sex with your cousin, and then if you go to San Fran, you don't wanna do there's a lot. Just Google
drugs.
San
Okay,
Francisco and just don't just just
do it.
dwell on it for a
Do
little bit.
it. Yeah.
Miss that city.
Um, yeah. Another thing, reach out to your network, which you're great at. Tap in, like, just who do you got out there in Facebook? Maybe you never know who's out there and can put you up. If you
Look
have
for
enough money,
opportunity.
maybe, yeah,
Look for
lots of
opportunity
friends
to
out there.
travel.
Put your thing on Facebook. Hey, I'm going to XYZ. Does anyone know anyone there? And I'm sure 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, you probably do know someone in that area or has some good tips or a guide or all that kind of stuff. So make sure you use that network.
No, and
Um,
my goodness, this is what I talk about opportunities. Brings me back up to my point I was looking up. I was looking up world's cheapest intercontinental flights. Now, tell me, Fraser, if you have an inkling of what pulled up when I searched that.
like locations.
Yeah, it's like world's cheapest just flights to get to from America. And then on top of that, what country has the cheapest airfare in the world?
Does this include like North America? Or are we talking like
This
across
includes
the
the
pond?
world. This includes the world, the Earth that is within this universe. What country on this planet has the cheapest airfare?
And that was none I mentioned.
I'm telling you, no, it has been mentioned. It actually has been
Yeah,
mentioned.
yeah. I would say probably like London or Rome or Barcelona or Madrid, maybe Paris.
I would have you know, my well-traveled friend, it's actually Malaysia. Malaysia has the cheapest airfare in the world.
But I think we're talking about two different things. Like, I'm sure flying in Malaysia, yes, or lots of Asian places. We're saying a flight from LA right now to where is the cheapest? I don't think
I
Malaysia
no,
is the
I'm
answer.
pretty sure it is Malaysia. They've had some tough times lately. I don't know if you've stayed up to
Okay.
date with the news over the years, but you can get on a
Yeah.
Malaysia flight and just never, you know, just disappear.
Yeah.
Things are crazy over there.
Okay.
But hey,
All
worth the
right.
risk,
Well,
right? And you
high
can go
risk,
anywhere in the
high
world for under
reward,
two
like we
hundred
talked
bucks.
about.
I'll roll the dice
Hmm.
with that.
Um, Speaking of
Also,
which, another
Beirut. If
favorite
you
thing
want to
I
go
love.
from LA to Beirut, I'm looking at some incredible pricing right now, blowing me away. Actually, never been to Beirut.
Right.
Have you, Fraser? Any friends been to Beirut?
I have no. I've never been to Beirut.
You can get there. It's saying for under $500, like all the way from
Nice.
United States. That's incredible.
Yeah. Somewhere I've always wanted to go.
Have you really
Um,
Beirut?
I don't want to go there. No.
Yeah, me neither. But hey, I'm saying
All
put
right.
yourself in that situation. You got to put yourself in uncomfortable places.
Yeah, you're right. No, I mean, we that hits two of the things we brought up. Take chances, take some risks. Also, go to places that may be a little bit down right now to save some money. Another thing you'll love, what you're kind of doing right now. One of my favorite tips is you go to like Google Flights, as in like Google's own flights,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a place where you can just hit Explore. So what I'll do, and I just did this for a flight to
Trying this on.
Colombia. I'll put I'll put Phoenix, obviously where I'm from, and then it goes the dates you want and you hit enter and it'll show you all around the world where you could fly and you make it like less than 14 hours flights, less than 21 hours flights, less than 8-hour flights, whatever you're kind of looking for, the price you want to pay. And from there you just kind of select, okay, it's this much here, this much there, I can go to there. So like the two best places under 12 hours of flying for me were Panama and Colombia. And so I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to Colombia. I had no idea where I was going to go, Jackie. I just threw it in the Google flights and said, you know what? You're my god, Google. What's the song? Whisk me away. Strap in your seatbelts.
Yeah. But
Jesus has the wheel. Google has the wheel.
Thank you. I'll agree to that. Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah. Download. Have you ever downloaded Google offline Maps? Always make sure you do that
I've
because some
not.
places you'll not have any service.
That is a
Yeah, because
very
you
good
know you
tip.
don't have service when you travel.
No, I'm a very
And
I do not know my way around anywhere. I can't get
no,
around my
that's
local
true.
grocery store, without some guidance.
Hmm.
So, that's a very sweet tip, Fraser, that I'm gonna use
Yeah,
daily, actually.
great. I'm glad I could help.
Some people are
Um,
vacationing
yeah,
as
so
soon as they
offline
open their
maps.
door, you know?
Yeah, that's beautiful words. I'm gonna put that in like some sort of quote. People are vacationing as soon as they leave their door. Don't let us forget that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Go try something
Beautiful.
new. Today,
Very.
for instance, this whole week I've been eating at PF Chang's. Today,
Yeah.
I went at I'm in Houston, by the way. I'm in Houston right now, traveling, and,
I'm writing your
I
quote. I'm
ventured
writing
out
your
to go
quote
to
down, by the way.
Willie's. Went to Willie's today, Ice House in Houston, and, fantastic. I had some Cajun food, um, a Topo
Hmm.
Chico seltzer, uh, and, I the Cajun food I had was a redfish fillet, perfectly grilled,
Hmm.
and then with some wings, because honestly, wings are a great, I would say, factor to weigh in on any restaurant. If a restaurant doesn't have good wings,
Mm-hmm.
what do they have?
Don't mess with them. It's
What
a
do they
good
have?
Mendoza line.
Yeah.
A Mendoza
It's
line for.
like if you want to
Yeah.
check out what the standard is at a restaurant, try their wings. See how they care.
Yeah, I
See
like
what they
that.
care. And these were
Great
juicy.
tip. Yeah. Mm,
Yeah. When's the last
that's
what?
nice. Another tip I have.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Oh, always.
What were
I
you gonna ask?
I
You can go
like
ahead.
to I like to look whenever I'm looking at hotel fares, the amenities that come with it. I love the
Hmm.
amenities that come with boutique hotels, certain places. Some hotels actually have discounts that you can get to local areas, especially when you go abroad. There's some you can get some great deals ahead of time if you just do the research. If you go ahead and check it out.
Do you have an example of one of these deals that
I
you've
I
gotten
do
from a
I
hotel?
do Fraser Laveay. I do. For instance, this hotel I'm at right now, I looked for a hot tub. I looked for hot tubs because nice little soak after. Stays open till 10 p.m., which is very great. Workout rooms, great distance, walking distance, from everything. Also has
Hmm.
a great
I don't know
market
if
and
that's something
bar
I'd want to do.
downstairs for late night stuff. So if I want to just drink downstairs, I can
Hmm.
go drink downstairs. I would
Yeah.
say where you stay really does have a big impact on every trip. So try to find out what the amenities are, because just a hotel room isn't enough
Yeah.
these days. You gotta things got
Absolutely.
they have to offer more.
We can
Like,
add
what
that.
kind of towels are they using? Do they use good shampoos
Mm.
rooms, or is it
Mm.
that chemical stuff that
Yeah.
makes your hair fall out? You gotta weigh these things in.
Are you blaming your hair falling out on hotel towels?
Hey, no, I'm blaming on a barber that I got in San Antonio that did my hair. He really did a number on me. My hairline. Look at this.
Hmm.
You see these little hairs? Because he shaved my hairline all the way up to there. Messed me up for probably another month or two. You see this? You see the growth?
Is
That
that a
that is
thing?
just
Shaving
brand new.
someone's hairline on the front?
Yeah, he tried
Doesn't
to
sound
line
like
me
something
up.
you do.
He tried to line me up.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
San
can't do that
Antonio
with regular
barber
hair,
tried to
can you?
line this guy up. Do I look like I need a lineup?
Well,
No,
also not
I
lost
need a
it.
trim. Two guard on the
Yeah.
side, scissor cut, not
Yeah.
line up.
No. That's
I was
hilarious.
I was
Um,
livid. I was livid.
I'm not.
I still
We
tipped him
gotta
ten
fire
dollars
through.
though. Still tipped him $10 out of principle of
That's
being a
nice
good
of you.
human and to not be
That's
shot,
nice.
because the guy gave me very scary vibes. Pretty
All
sure
right.
he nodded
Well,
off halfway during my haircut too, but
hmm. Okay.
I felt
Um,
threatened.
we got to get back and knock out some of these tips. Travel by yourself once in your life. I love traveling by yourself, especially if you can you can just kind of do whatever you want when you want. You don't have to worry about if someone wants to do this or someone's tired this day. You can kind of just You'll meet people along the way and just go along your route. Um, Also, on that note, volunteer abroad, especially if you're female. Like I wouldn't want my sister to ever travel alone, but there's like a volunteer HQ is a company I worked with, and Maximo Novell, and they actually you pay to volunteer, and they set you up with like a place to stay with like a host family, and they help you find volunteering, whether you can do dentistry, you can do nursing, you can do animal stuff, you can do childcare and sports stuff like I did. So definitely an incredible way to travel. And then you kind of meet people every night. There's little mixers. You get to meet everyone, meet some friends, and that's very well. It's safe to do.
I would
So
say
volunteer abroad, Maximum Vel, yeah,
safely look into Facebook
IVHQ.
groups, abroad Facebook groups, for certain
Hmm.
areas. Um, I'd like to.
IVHQ has that actually too.
I used to do that, not anymore, but
Mm,
I definitely would
mm,
check out different interests that I have that line up. When you say explore, do activities, look up those activities where locals are doing the local Facebook group activities, and
yeah,
try to
absolutely.
infiltrate those groups and get some people to help you out as a tourist. I always appreciate some
Yeah,
local trying to help a yellow belly out. It's nice.
absolutely. I know you do two of these things to a T and not even on purpose, but I say don't stress the small stuff or things you can't control and slow down and don't overplan your trip. So don't stress the small stuff. When you're in a third world country, shit's gonna happen. Buses are gonna be late, hotels are gonna take forever to check in, something's gonna get stolen. You're just gonna it's it's never gonna be perfect. It's Murphy's Law, but you put yourself out there, it's gonna happen. Third world countries, that's the reason they're third world countries. So don't sweat the small stuff. Just say, hey, you know what? I had a camera stolen. I was like, I guess they needed it more than I do. Or, you
Where was
can't just be
that
in a
at, Frazier?
rush all the
Where
time.
was
Just slow
that
down.
at that you got your camera
That
stolen?
that was in Chiang Mai,
Mm,
actually in Thailand.
mm,
Yeah. Because that was back in 2005 when we still had like digital cameras. Now I just have
yeah,
my phone.
yeah.
Um, so planning is important. Like, don't overplan your trip. You want to have kind of an outline of what you're doing, but go with the flow. There's once you're there, there's so many random things you can walk into or stroll into, and I wouldn't have everything to a T. I would leave some flexibility in your trip. Uh, yeah,
When did you play with the elephants? Was that Bali?
that was Laos. I did it in
Laos.
Thailand, but then but then Laos as well, or
Yeah,
Cambodia,
I would say.
Laos.
What about
Yeah.
nature? I always feel like traveling into nature is a cheap way to really,
Hmm.
have a great experience, but not have to pay too much for it. What do you think
Yeah,
about that? Like a hike,
I
like go take
absolutely
a
agree.
hike.
I think like just yeah, absolutely. That's why I love going to like I don't do a lot of Europe. I do more Asia and South America because there's a lot more adventure tourism and going on hikes and seeing waterfalls versus I always feel like England someone told me this a long time ago that go to places that won't be there tomorrow. So like England and London is always going to be London. Um where's another like Paris is always going to be Paris. It's not going to be a big change in how Paris is, by and large. But Asia, like just South America, Bogota, wherever it is changing so rapidly and just becoming Americanized. So you definitely want to get there while it's still local, cultural, not just overpopulated. And before too many people find it out. Like Thailand, I went in 2005, and then I went again 3 years ago, and it's night and day, completely different. So you
Mm,
definitely want to hit those places early and yeah, get into nature, do all that kind of fun stuff. I agree.
mm, mhm. I
If you're on a budget, eat local. I know you'd love this. See what the locals are eating and eat that. I eat it just street food in Asia all the time. It's like 2 cents to eat and incredible
mhm.
everywhere. Tacos in South America, whatever it is, chicken and rice. In Costa Rica, they have these things called sodas, and they're just like little mom and pop shop. Grandma's cooking in the kitchen, and oh my god, it's like $2-3 for a plate. Incredible.
It's
Um,
abuela. Abuela, you were the word you were referring to.
yeah, you're right. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Instagram search and TikTok. great ways to see some places. So I mean, just type in where you're going and see what IGers have posted about that spot. So use social media, and you can see, if I went to, again, Cambodia, I can search Cambodia and I see all the cool pictures and places people visit, and copy those
No,
itineraries and make
I
sure I see all these
know
cool spots.
no, I know for certain you don't know a lick of Cambodian or, you can't speak Thai. So, how
Oh,
did you make it such genuine, fantastic relationships with the locals, Fraser? Did you w
Thailand's easy because everyone speaks English, like all the tour people. But
wonderful
Vietnam,
to
the
know,
soccer team I was with, they didn't
wonderful.
speak. Yeah, they didn't speak a lick of English. The coach like spoke some English, but very little, and so I just talked to him and translate to the kids or like the guys.
You're
But what's
easily
crazy
to
about
read
that is kind of
facial.
beautiful.
You
Is
have
like,
very easy to read facial expressions
yeah,
too, Fraser. You know, like I
yeah,
feel like
thank you.
you're a very
Like
kind
happiness,
face, very kind face. You
sad.
know, like
Thank you.
you don't look hostile.
Yeah,
Like I feel like very
yeah.
amicable and even rare.
Hmm.
You know, you're Native American, so like it's incredible. You know that you're just they don't
Yeah,
even realize it at first. It's incredible.
yeah. Absolutely. Well, also it's kind of beautiful. It's corny, but like both those times, we spoke the game.
You're the
We spoke
OGs is what
football.
I mean, like,
We spoke soccer.
you're talking about Americanizing the West. You're talking about Americanizing the
Yeah,
West, but, like, you're the OG of America,
yeah,
so it's kinda nice that when you go out there and you go,
yeah.
spread
I
the
can
love.
represent.
Exactly. Y
I represent all of North America.
e
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
it's nice.
Yeah. Um, Another thing I always tell is jet lags for babies. So fight it.
Mhm.
Prep. So a way I do it is, when will you ever? Oh, so I wrote this. I wrote this in the article. Jet lag should really only exist on your flight back when you have to go back to your job and you feel like Tommen after his mom killed his wife. So I
What
think,
is that
remember when
reference to?
Tommen jumped out the window?
No, can
Game of
you
Thrones.
Oh,
Remember
yeah,
when
yeah, 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 yeah. I
when he
remember that.
jumped out the window?
Yeah.
So jet lag on the when you're home, you feel like you want to jump out the window. I guess is what I was trying to write. But
Yes.
on the way there, you don't want to have jet lag. So what I do is I'll take a sleeping pill right away. So if it's like, so I'll knock out and I'll sleep on the plane. So then I wake up refreshed. If it's a 7 p.m. Flight, then I'll drink like some Red Bulls or espresso martinis and ride that excitement high until like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I'll just fall asleep for before we get there. So it's kind of like either stay awake super, super late. So then when you get there, you're kind of on that time, or fall asleep right away. So then you're kind of, when you wake up, you're on their time.
I
But
definitely like to
yeah,
train my
figure it
body a
out.
little
And
bit if I'm going, West Coast to East
mhm,
Coast. You know, I used to have to do that
yeah,
when I was living in Nashville, coming to visit you. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
you got to prep
absolutely.
your body. You got to prep your body because that's a big deal.
Yeah,
It's very big, very big.
absolutely.
Yeah, I always,
Um,
you got to
Nothing.
find a way to sleep on a
So,
plane.
go ahead.
You got to find a way to sleep on a plane.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
Big deal.
I'm the
Yeah,
worst sleeper in life.
that.
I'm a bad sleeper. I hate. Yeah,
I mean, you have to be able to find your position. So I always like to take an office chair and I practice right before and after I'm about to get on a flight a little bit, practice my mode that stretch my neck out a little bit so I don't have a crick after. It's you can
yeah.
there's a lot of you gonna want to be flexible. So when you're in your flight, you
Mm,
can just nod off. That's my favorite thing is the downward. Big fan of the if you need a tip to
yeah,
keep your neck okay, the downward just keep your
yeah.
yeah just eat all your under chins. That's what I do.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
great. Thanks for that,
yeah,
Jackson.
yeah. That's how I
Um,
usually don't wake up with neck pain.
That's great. I don't have many left, but the picture taking, I wish people would do this more. Offer to take someone's picture. Like if you see like they're at a lookout and they're taking pictures, like trying a selfie and stuff. Be like, hey, can I take your picture? And of course they want you to with a beautiful background, whatever it is. And then they'll reciprocate and take your picture back. So it's like, don't just be and also don't be the jerk who just stands in the perfect photo spot that everyone wants. Like get in there, get it out of the way, don't just be hanging out. Like there's a lineup of people trying to get this great view of this hike that they did or whatever it is. Get out of the way,
Uh,
and take people's pictures.
I would also say a great way to find a tour guide on the cheap is to find local transportation and then make friends with that guy and then get his number, get his
Yeah,
contact, and just keep using the same transporter daily. And you can
yeah,
get a great relationship that way if you tip well. Tip well, they'll really treat you
yeah.
well. That's the way you get invited back to Grandma Abuela's house. You know, for some
Mm-hmm.
home cooking is tipping
Yeah,
well and
for yeah,
keeping a smile on your face and just asking questions, because people love to answer. People love to either talk about themselves or just talk about their surroundings and just their perspective. So always ask questions, because let them answer, let them just word vomit out their culture to you, because it's very, very easy to have a great time that way if you just sit back and just let them take the reins. It's really nice.
yeah. You're right. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't tell them necessarily
Another
what
one.
you
I've
want to
got a
do.
couple
Tell
more.
them ask them what they like to do. Usually, people don't like to do
Yeah.
boring things, especially local people. The
Mm-hmm.
people aren't doing people
Yeah.
if they have the very little time people in their locals have in their free time, they're not going to do boring stuff. So ask them what they like to do in their free
Yeah.
time.
I was invited back to someone's house in Vietnam, I think it was, and they had me drinking snake wine and bird wine.
Mm.
There's like dead birds in like a mason jar, and then dead snakes in a mason jar,
I
and it
think they
was
were just
like
playing
bird wine and
pranks
snake
on
wine.
you, Fraser. I think that wasn't
I'm
wine at
telling you,
all. I think that was just
it was bird wine, and
feathers
well,
and all.
yeah, it was disgusting. I'll show you pictures. I wonder if
Pull
it.
it up.
Go- yeah, Google bird wine Vietnam, and you'll see they put
I've
tons of
heard
that
of
dead
snake
birds,
wine. I've heard
snake.
of the snake one. I've
Yeah,
not heard of bird wine. Let's see bird wine.
yeah. Ugh, the first one that you Google.
Okay, they
Uh,
actually have well bottled bird wine. Wait, that might just be
yeah.
like, it looks pretty. Wait. No, no.
I feel like that
Chinese bird. That's what you're
doesn't look
saying.
pretty at all.
Chinese. I think this is just a brand. Chinese bird wine. Let's see.
No, no, no. No, if you Google bird
Not
wine
Chinese. I mean,
Vietnam,
the Vietnamese.
the
Where
first.
were you? Oh God! Look at that.
I mean, I'm not
Is
trying to
that it?
get.
Is that it?
Yeah,
That's an
that's
owl.
how COVID
I think
started.
that's an owl. Oh. Oh.
See, don't. And there's like Cobra wine.
That's
There's a bunch
wrong.
of
You
nasty shit.
shouldn't. That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Well, I drank it, my friend. It is
Why?
disgusting.
Why'd
I
you
don't know. It
drink
was
it?
like
That's
a
not,
local
like,
thing.
offensive to say no. You can say no to that. You know that, right? People
Yeah, but I
don't
just
drink
want to
in
try
every
it.
that's another thing. Here's a travel tip. Every culture has people who don't drink. Don't let locals go and guilt trip you into a bender. Like you can say no to a local when it comes to eating food or drinking alcohol. It's a common myth that you just saying no to food is going to be insulting. No, not necessarily all the time. People don't feel like they have to eat all the time. It's not a thing. It's just not
Jackson,
a thing.
Jackson, have you ever said no to someone who offered you alcohol or food?
No, I haven't. But at the same time, I've learned from my mistakes. So there you go.
but you've never said no, so I don't think you've learned per se.
Argentina, say no. If you go to Argentina and you're offered just abundance of alcohol, and you feel
Why are
obligated
they gonna
that, hey,
drive
if I
by?
say no, this will offend. No, no.
Why'd they drive by on Argentina? What'd they do to you?
That was a lovely trip until I don't remember anything anymore. It was
Okay.
the last 3 days were just a blur. But it was
Okay.
fantastic. It was the first week.
Um.
The amount of Malbec I drank was unbelievable. And then
mm,
this sugarcane liqueur stuff that was like very high potency. but
Hmm.
very delicious. It just it roughed me up, man. It roughed
Yeah.
me up.
Um, well, Jackson disappeared
Where's
for a
the
minute.
what is you don't act like you haven't had that type of experience, Fraser. When have you been taken advantage of as a tourist before by a
Yeah,
local?
I'm just saying I've never said no. So it's just
Oh yeah,
funny
yeah,
that
yeah.
me and
But
me
tell me
and
about the
me and
times
you
you
were
haven't
telling
said no.
people.
Tell me about it.
Me and you are telling people to say no, and we both are lushes and eat everything and drink everything. So we've
Well,
never really said no.
yeah, I mean,
So it's just funny that we're the ones telling people,
well,
which
we're
you brought
telling
up. I wasn't
people
going to tell
save
anyone that.
jet lag for the very last thing, and to be honest, we've had the worst jet lag of anybody we've ever known. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, the
Hey,
last time I visited you, the jet lag I had coming back from that
yeah.
trip was
Yeah.
nightmarish.
I don't think that's jet lag per se. I think that's just a hangover. I don't think like a 2 hour flight is jet lag, but I'm not a I'm not a
You're not a
chemist, I
doctor,
guess.
you know. You're not a doctor,
No,
so
never claimed to be. I never have been.
Doctor Laveay.
So,
That's actually kind of a
so some
sexy name. It's kind of a sexy
maybe
name,
you can
Doctor Laveay.
we can do some role playing later when we're off the recording.
Yep.
Um, so another thing you always have to do, check the boat or the bus you're using before you purchase. I've been screwed twice in Thailand. I bought like a sleeper bus ticket, and it was not a sleeper bus ticket. It was miserable. It was like straight upright, 12, 13 hours.
How do you check
They
it,
honey dick
Fraser?
me. You go and you buy like straight to source. Don't use these random little agencies off the side. Be like, hey, show me the bus I'm exactly on.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure. Don't just see the pictures and all that. Same thing with a boat. I went on a boat tour one time and it was miserable. So make sure don't skimp out and all of a sudden you're on just a shitty boat. You want to make sure you're on a half decent boat when you're going over waves in the ocean and you're just like wham wham thinking you're
Crocodile
gonna die.
tours. Crocodile
Um,
tours. I've done
mhm.
one of those. I don't. You don't want to be on a flimsy canoe when you're on a crocodile tour with 20-foot crocs
No,
in Costa Rica, with a man named
yeah,
Jose dangling raw chicken out of your boat. I'm telling you, you want to pay for the best experience. Don't cheap out on it because you will
mm,
regret it.
yeah.
You will regret it.
I got served a Facebook video that was just like crocodile fails, and it was
Mm.
people like crocodile sightseeing, but like one knocked the guy off his kayak and he was upside down in the water. Oh, it was a terrifying. It was one of the scariest things I've ever watched.
I
Um,
croc.
another. I think we only got a couple more tips here. I'll go ahead.
Oh no. Another
Oh, if
thing
it's
is
too
that
good to be true,
yeah. Things that are too good to
if
be
it's too
true
good to be
are
true,
yeah, they're good too good to
it
be true.
probably is.
Probably believe they
Yeah,
they
exactly.
100%. That rule is
Hmm.
universal. Doesn't matter where you go. Like if it's true in
Hmm.
that's true wherever you go. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Those words from your grandmother come sponsored, you know,
yeah,
worldwide. It's crazy.
yeah. Let me throw out a couple more. Take only what you need and leave the rest of your hotel. So, like when I'll leave, I'll just leave a credit card. I'll take a credit card, a debit card, an ID, and some cash. You don't want to lose all $1,000 you brought traveling because you got it in your pocket or all your credit cards. I always have a safety credit card back in my hotel with my passport. So, like when I was robbed in Mexico, I still had my passport and I still had an extra credit card and an extra ID that I was able to use for the rest of the trip. Where if I had everything in there, I would have been, and I had a bunch of cash still. So,
This is
um,
another trip too. Is if you plan on getting a
mhm.
lot of souvenirs or buying a lot of stuff, bring an extra bag if you can. Bring your carry on, and
Yeah.
then an empty check on, and
Hmm.
then you can just fill it up. Plan on buying your wardrobe for your entire wardrobe over there. I really like that.
Yeah.
When I did in Costa Rica, I just brought like
Mhm.
two. I was staying for a week, and I only brought 2 days worth of clothes. I bought all my other clothes there you know, just because
Yeah.
first of all, got some great deals first, set, and then
Hmm.
second of all, the style. You just the style is fantastic over there, and you get to
Yeah.
really get to feel it if you buy local. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I love that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Try to experience the local culture. I think we talked on that. Pack light.
Yes,
Uh,
backlight.
yeah.
You want to be able to
When
move.
when you're searching for flights, turn on your private or incognito mode on your web browser. So then you don't get cookied because, as you know, like when you're searching for stuff, there's a high demand. Tickets will go up. So you want to make sure you're always, when you're searching for stuff, do it on private mode. So the cookies on the
Intercontinental.
travel sites don't see that. And
If you're flying,
yeah,
if you're flying all over the world, Fraser, what's your airline of choice? And then domestic, what's your airline of choice?
I think for travel tips, whoever is the cheapest, baby. Like I'm just going with whatever. I went on Norwegian Airlines from Los Angeles to Rome, $320. Flight was fine. The sitting in the chair was fine. It wasn't bad at all. I thought it was going to be a nightmare. So I mean, I just go with whatever makes sense. I know when I'm in Asia, there's a couple great airlines. When you're in Europe, there's a few different ones. So here, I do Southwest because I have a lot of Southwest points, but also American Airlines. If it's cheaper, I'll fly American. I think I've done JetBlue. I've got no pros or cons. I just go with whatever's the best deal, quickest flight. Like Costa Rica, United, I think it is, has more direct flights than American. Mexico, American has more flights than United. So it just kind of depends.
My
Um,
next question. My next
yeah.
question is so domestic. Actually, no, I'll tell you my favorite domestic is Southwest, actually. I love Southwest. Why? Because
Hmm.
they're dependable in terms of Wi-Fi, like on in terms of being on board. They got great amenities on
Yeah.
board that just come free and standard. Up to date movies
Hmm.
automatically on your phone. The upload all their flights got the Wi-Fi on it that
Yeah.
works. You know, you can free texting.
Texting.
Texting's
Yeah. Free
huge.
texting.
You know, because I like to work while I have to work while I'm traveling. You know, especially if I'm on a
Hmm.
Friday, having to fly out on a Friday,
Yeah.
I got to finish
You're a
some
big
emails.
businessman.
I could, yeah, and
Yeah.
they cater to that. I really love that they
Yeah.
keep that in mind. Not a lot of airlines do, or they say, "Oh, we have Wi-Fi, but it's not available. It's not, not available right now. It's not
Hmm.
working." You know, Southwest, it's
Hmm.
always working. They
Yeah.
care.
Shout out. Shout out Southwest.
Shout out
Um,
Southwest.
a couple, some safety tips. Make copies of your license and your passport, and always have them on you in some in your bag that you leave back.
I do that
And
as
get
well.
travel insurance.
Right here,
Travel insurance,
passport.
like health.
Passport
There you
right
go.
here. I keep it right with me all the times, and then a separate ID, second ID, all
Yeah.
times. Great
Second ID
point,
always.
Frazier. Great point,
Thanks.
Frazier.
Thank you. Get travel insurance. I know my health insurance costs $300 a month. If you go, my health insurance in Asia cost me $25 for the
I did
entire
not
two
think
months that I
about
was in
that.
Asia.
Do you actually get the insurance? Do you get it through your current insurance for when you go
Uh,
abroad, or how do you get that
no,
extra
so
part of your policy?
I always use Berkshire Hathaway randomly. They have a really
Shout
good
out
travel.
Buffett.
Yeah, yeah, it's very odd, but they have a great travel insurance, and it's so cheap.
Okay.
So I'll do that just because and they also they guarantee your bags. If your bags get lost, you get like bag insurance. You get, obviously, if something bad physically happened to you, a bunch of other stuff. They cover a ton, and it's really cheap.
Yeah,
So
well, a lot of people be dying abroad these days, like Dominican
hmm
Republic and people going abroad for boob jobs and whatnot like that, and things can go wrong. Boob
people are
jobs,
dying
butt
from boob
jobs.
job, from breast implants.
Well, for instance, I mean, it's been on the news. Those four people went down to Mexico for some cosmetic surgery, and they were kidnapped.
Mm,
And
yeah.
a whole ordeal occurred, and I'm sure they could really use
Hmm.
some Berkshire Hathaway insurance at that point. So
Hmm.
better to have it than
Yeah.
not. Better to have it than not need it, or whatever
Yeah.
the saying is.
Yeah. I think that's the saying. Better have it than not
Need it.
ever
Mm.
need it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's basically it. Uh, we covered some great stuff. So thanks for coming on, Jackson. We'll do another
Oh,
one either tomorrow or Monday.
but here's a good
Yeah.
question,
What else you
Frazier.
got?
Attire,
Yeah.
travel attire. I want to know about what to wear to go through airports. What's it best to wear? Is it best to wear the long pants? Is it best to wear the short pants? Is it best to go flip flops or
Mm,
boots? I'm a pre-check guy, so I just
yeah.
fly right through sometimes. But some other people
Yeah.
wear bracelets upon bracelets, and they take 5 minutes to get through.
Mhm.
What what do you like to,
Mhm.
what's your travel day attire like?
I'm full comfort all the time. I'll wear just sweatpants because I get cold on the flights. I'll wear sweatpants. Sometimes if it's not too long, I'll put shorts on underneath just in case I do need to. Layers, I guess, is where I was going. So I like to layer it. If you're too cold, you can transfer that. Then I always have just my comfiest t-shirt and a hoodie.
Well,
And
and
so I'll
that's
put on the
traveling
hoodie if I need
abroad
it.
too.
If
Like
not,
you were going from United States
yeah,
all the way to
yeah,
Thailand, and the
yeah, comfy
transition definitely
sweats.
wear sweatpants and stuff and
Yeah.
stay
I
comfy.
typically
Bring your
go I typically go commando because I just feel like underwear just really bunches up on
mhm,
these long flights. So I'll just be commando in sweatpants, comfy t-shirt, hoodie,
that's
and sneakers, comfortable sneakers,
that's fun.
and socks on. It's kind of like the movie theater. You can't go to a movie theater or the airplane in flip flops. Your feet are cold. Also, you don't want if you're a smelly feet person, you don't want to have that.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, a lot of people, post that they don't like when people take their shoes off. If you're working all day and I don't know why you would do that. I guess if you're a business person, but I take my shoes off all the time. But I'm like, if I'm going on a flight, I'm freshly showered. I'm clean as a
Mhm.
whistle. So there's no odors. So don't just blanket people out there saying, "Oh, keep your shoes on." Yeah, if you've worked all day and you have smelly feet, keep your shoes on. But if you're freshly showered and you just want some comfort, I always take my shoes off on a flight. I'm here. I'm comfortable, baby.
Oh
And a
yeah.
pillow. I bring a travel pillow. But
Oh,
I can't sleep on it like this. I have to sleep on it like that.
big deal. Big deal. Extra batteries.
Mhm.
Travel batteries as
Mm.
well, just because once you get international, ports get weird, energy
Mhm.
sources get
Yeah.
finicky. You want to be able to
Yeah.
always have the right plug-in, so definitely
Yeah.
bring,
You definitely that's a good
definitely
point.
definitely bring your own energy sources. That's a huge
Mhm.
travel tip for me because my phone dies all the time because I'm constantly
Yeah.
on it and addicted. So
Yeah. That's true. And I think bring your own energy. I think that metaphorically speaking as well, bring that
yeah, I
happiness,
mean,
bring that
bad
jacksie.
attitude is universal anywhere. It doesn't matter where you travel. A bad attitude is always greeted with a bad attitude. So always bring a smile,
And
pack a smile wherever you
and
go.
what's a great attitude always do you get back?
I've,
A great
I've had
attitude,
some
right?
amazing times with a great attitude.
Yeah.
I've fornicated with
Sometimes I like
many times.
sometimes I like when you before as we're leaving, I like when you hold your microphone like you're like kiss and you grab it and then it's like you're speaking into it like you're just talking to a crowd. I really enjoy that. Like I feel like I'm in a concert.
Yeah, I
So
that's part of why I took up this podcasting endeavor, so I could feel like I'm a rock star concert guy. And
yeah.
honestly, yeah, I do get into that because like I can flick it down. It's a little longer than I can. It's kind of
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of nice.
Well, this has been an hour. I wonder if anyone actually listens the full hour. Kudos if you made it this long.
I listen to
Um,
Joe Rogan for 3 hours at times, and
yeah,
Lex
that's
Friedman, a couple other people.
we're
Got
basically
Walsh,
them. So you're right.
Stavros, Tom Tom Segura, and Christina P. And
Hmm.
I can get into zones. That's another thing. Travel podcasts, I would say, when
Mm,
you're downloading YouTube, might as well download some
yeah.
podcasts, some audiobooks. What's the
What about a
last?
podcast about travel to where you're going? That'd
That
be a
is a
good
great
podcast
thing.
to download, wouldn't
That
it?
is a great thing. I'm a big culinary guy, so I always like to look up what exactly I should eat while I'm over there, like the do's and don'ts
Mm,
of my, especially because your bowels are going to be tender to whatever you're going towards.
mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure you're eating the right things that are going to make you feel good. Because as soon as you don't,
Maybe, uh
it's going to be a rough day.
maybe we can do maybe when the next podcast we can do a food podcast, food travel, our favorite places to travel and eat food. Let's do that. We'll do
Absolutely.
that
I
tomorrow or Monday.
honestly, cooking abroad. I do like to cook abroad. When I said
Mm,
amenities and when you stay, like I like getting a kitchen and I like cooking
mhm.
myself wherever I'm at and getting local ingredients and sourcing it. It that way the people that you're with will always be happy and fed, and also that you will stay healthy. Like it's just sometimes when you're traveling abroad, it can get a little iffy sometimes. So Cooking, always having a way to cook something is convenient. Just have that in your back pocket. I always
I
encourage
love that.
eating street food, but
Mhm.
you better you I if I s- if whenever I go out eating street food, I look for sinks. I look to see if they're washing their hands, and I
Mm.
like to see if there were like the access to food. Is there a refrigerator? How's the food being kept and stored? Things like that. And always go to the
Mm.
places with lines. I will say that.
Yeah.
Don't try the easy way out when you see a bunch of street vendors and there's a line with one. You're like, I don't want to wait in that line. I want to go to that place. They look like they have the same food. They don't. There's a reason lines exist, and that is because
Mhm.
that is where the food is good. Always follow the lines. I know it's inconvenient, but follow the lines sometimes. Sometimes. And your local
Yeah.
guide, and make them eat it first.
Yeah. Well, all right, that'll
The
be our
way I
next
do that is
podcast.
I offer to buy
We'll do
them
a
lunch and
draft.
dinner. Buy them lunch and dinner.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, that's a great tip. Buy your guide lunch or dinners, and then tell them where we should go, and they'll take you to the best spots. I did
Yep.
that with in Costa Rica actually as well.
Yep.
Yeah, next pod we'll do a draft. Us back and forth, favorite places, restaurant or place we've eaten from traveling, and travel food tips. All
I
right,
love that.
pleasure, Jackson. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you very soon.
InspiredTravelEat.com. This was the best travel podcast in the universe. We hope. Go get yourself a beer next few weeks.